Welcome to Afros in the Diaspora. My name is Sarah. I am your host, and together we will vent, rant, laugh, and cry as we discuss the highs and lows of being an immigrant. Stay tuned for stories that will inspire, inform, entertain, and give hope. This is Afros in the Diaspora. Welcome to another episode of Afros in the Diaspora. And today we have an amazing visual artist with us by the name of Chish. Hey Chish, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good to have you. I'm very excited about this conversation today.
Yeah, me as well.
Yes. So, Chish is from Zambia. So our trivia / icebreakers for today are going to be about Zambia. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Don't worry, you got this. It should be easy. It's like it's you got this. Don't worry.
All right.
What are the countries on the border of Zambia? So the countries that surround Zambia.
Okay. Congo,
Mm-hmm.
Zimbabwe, Malawi, and I think that's it. That's all I can think of.
No, you're missing a couple.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you want to go again? Real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. If you're Googling it, Thunder will fire you.
Okay, that's what I was gonna do, but
do not Google it.
Okay. So, definitely Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Is Tanzania one of them?
Yes.
Congo.
Yes. DRC. Yes.
DRC, yes, and I know Botswana is after Zimbabwe. I can't think of what's on there. Namibia?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, yeah, Namibia. Namibia, I think you have about 2 or so left.
2 more?
Yes.
Would
you like a hint, maybe?
Yes, please.
It starts from A.
It starts with an A?
Yeah, it starts with an A. Angola.
Angola. Okay.
Look at you. Just look
I
at
know.
you.
my geography, I used to be really good, especially Africa, but it's lacking as of late.
It's okay. So, okay, let me just list them all out. Do you have any other answers before I just list all of them?
No.
Okay. So, there's the DRC, Angola,
Okay.
Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique.
That's
the one that you missed. And then there's Malawi and Tanzania.
Okay.
I mean, not bad.
I got like 5 out of 7.
You
right?
got 5 out of 7. Yeah.
That's more than 50%. I'm happy.
That is well done. Well done. So for your second trivia / icebreaker, I have a riddle for you that I need you to solve. Okay. I am something. The more of me you take, the more I appear behind you. What am I?
Oh man.
Would you like
a
a
hint?
hint? Yeah.
Yes.
You're like, yes. The hint gives it away, but I don't mind. Walking creates it.
Walking?
Yeah, movement.
Footprints?
Steps, but yes.
Oh.
Yeah, close enough.
Okay.
Close enough. Awesome. Thank you for engaging with me in that. So, real quick, I'm just gonna ask you. I mentioned a little bit before that you're from Zambia. You were born there. So I just want you to, as we get more and more into our topic, just give us an idea, just a little bit about your immigration story of how you moved to Canada and what that was like for you.
Okay. All right. So I guess to start off, it's been stated that I was born in Zambia. So after being born in Zambia, I lived there till I was about 8, and then my family and I moved to the U.S. in Maryland, and we lived there for about 3 years, between the ages of like 8 and 12 for me, and then after that we moved to Canada in like 2006,
Mhm.
and we came in through like New York and Buffalo and like Fort Erie,
Mhm.
and so yeah, that was, I mean, that was like a huge change for me, like not even necessarily with like Zambia per se, but even just like the states, because I remember
Mhm.
being in like the United States like school system, and like we didn't even learn anything about Canada or anything. So like when my parents told me that we are moving to Canada, I was just like where is this place?
Where is that? Are you taking me to Narnia? Like, where in the world is this place? Okay,
I'm
continue.
telling
Sorry.
you. So so I mean we got here, and like we came in like under like refugee status, because
Mhm.
like my stepdad, he's from Zimbabwe, and at the
Mhm.
time they were letting in people from Zimbabwe. So man, like going through Fort Erie was like kind of interesting, because like I mean we went through the whole process of like just through the border and stuff, and then we ended up like staying in this, like, I guess it's like a refugee center for like, I think for like the first month that
Mhm.
we're here in Canada. And that was just like a bunch of people from a bunch of different places. Like there were people from Burundi, people from Somalia, from what I remember. So like that, moving from the US and then experiencing that, was just like much, much different. And
Mhm.
also, like, just to state, like, the whole reason why we moved, it was because it was really hard for my family to get citizenship in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever.
And so after living in Fort Erie, we moved to this town called Chippewa in Ontario. We lived there for about 9 months, which was actually really good. I enjoyed it. And then my stepdad, he had moved out here to work, which is in Calgary, Alberta. And so, like 9 months later, we ended up moving to Calgary, and then yeah, I've lived in Calgary ever since.
Wow. Ever since. So, what was like? What were a couple of like culture shocks that you experienced moving from Zambia to the U.S. and then settling with your family here in Canada from Ontario to Alberta, Calgary.
um, I guess like some of the culture shocks was like I remember like first kind of getting off the plane like in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And like I came in at like JFK Airport, right, in like New York, and like I
Mm-hmm.
remember just like thinking, I'm just like, yo, like this is so crazy. It's just like so like developed. Like just a lot of the infrastructure was like much different. I'm a visual person, so like just seeing like where Zambia was in like 2003,
Mm-hmm.
um and then like just go like and then just like going to New York, like it was just like a big shock.
Yeah.
It was a big shock. And then I remember like also like kind of having a hard time adjusting to the food as well,
Ooh.
because it was just like, I don't know, people say this, like a lot of like North American food is kind of just like filled with a lot of like GMOs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and like artificial like growing and
Yeah.
so that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
like I remember it just took me a bit to like adjust to the food, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just gonna say, I remember like being in school, especially in the US. I didn't experience this in Canada, but especially in the US, I remember like being in school, and like being like African or like even Zambian was just like you'd get like picked on in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like I don't know I don't know what's up with Americans, but like
Yeah.
So I remember like getting there and like wanting to fit in so like very badly that like I basically like kind of just like worked on like adjusting my accent, and then just like really kind of just like kind of neglecting like my African heritage and identity as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, just like cuz like being in like a new place, and like I mean not wanting to, I guess, like experience bullying in a way. So
Yeah. Not wanting to be the other, quote and unquote. Just
exactly.
yeah, to be seen as one of the as one of them, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
almost like that sense of belonging. Yeah, honestly, I feel like everyone, including myself, in fact, let me speak for myself. I experienced that heavy, and that's why
Mm.
like I worked really hard to get myself this Canadian accent. Um, Canadian. But if I want to speak back, switch back to my Nigerian accent like this, oh yeah, you see that you did you hear that?
Yeah.
In a snap of a
Yes.
finger, I'm back. You feel me? So,
The white
but
voice.
what'd you say?
The white voice.
The white voice, right? Like the
Yeah.
prim proper grammar, the like
Yeah.
all of that, the Canadian way of speaking,
Yeah.
yeah, and just mimicking Hollywood a lot. So like saying things like man, like using the F word, like and then it's just part of like integrating in some weird way of just like
Yeah.
if this is how they talk, then I guess this is how I'm gonna start talking. So I completely relate to that too. But how did you find that tracked into, 'cause when you moved here to Canada and settled here and with your family, did you find that sense of wanting to of kind of that personal struggle with your identity, do you find that followed you here, or was it a little bit easier to balance the two?
Um, to be honest, it really did follow me here, and
Hmm.
followed me here for quite some time actually, up until the time that I went back to Zambia. But we'll save that. We'll save that.
We'll save that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, can you talk? Because now you're an artist. Like you make incredible visual art work here in Calgary and in Alberta and in Canada. And just talk us through your journey to becoming an artist, because I know that in many African homes, that is not really an option. So like, how did you find yourself as an artist? How did you embrace that part of yourself to the point that you're like, you know what, this is who I am. This is the career I'm going to choose for myself. Like, what did school play into that? What the friends play into that? TV, like, tell us how it happened.
Okay. I mean, I'll give you the long version
Let's
because
hear
we
it.
have time.
We're
Yeah.
ready. We got time.
Yeah.
We have the time
So
today.
yes, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna just like step back
Hmm.
to when I was a kid and being in Zambia.
Hmm.
And so when I was a kid and I was in Zambia, I learned how to draw from my cousin, and it's something that I've always loved. Like, and so that always stuck with me. And
Hmm.
so as I was like kind of growing up, like I was always like inspired by artists. Like I used to like and just like read extensive documentaries on like artists, and and read books like on different artists like Bob Marley. And then I was inspired a lot by like hip hop and like rap. And so like that kind of played into it a lot. And then a lot of like sort of like world leaders. Like so I remember like very like briefly like when I was in the States, and like the whole like concept of like sort of like black history like really like it grabbed a lot of my attention. So like I just spent a lot of time like looking at people like Martin Luther King, um what's his name, Hank Aaron, who was like a baseball player. So just like I guess like people who like looked like me that had done something had always like sort of like inspired me. And then like fast forward to high school, and going back to the whole identity thing and not knowing who you are. um I like I would say like I like pretty much like lost myself and like really started hanging out with like the wrong crowd. Was just like, like started partying, smoking weed, just like really just like doing stuff that like was like not okay. Not okay with like my parents and like my family.
Mhm.
But um with that being said, like I also was like not doing very well in school, just like based on like the things that I was doing.
Mhm.
And so fast forward to after high school, was pretty much kind of dealing with the same problem, smoking weed, hanging out with the same crowd.
Mhm.
And then I kind of just like started experimenting with like different drugs, because just like going back to just like being lost as well, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
and like trying to find myself in like things that are kind of temporary in a way.
Mhm.
So when I was 21, which was like 3 years after high school, um I got checked into like a faith-based like rehabilitation center for like drugs and alcohol.
Mhm.
So I so through that program I actually started painting. And so
Oh
that's
wow.
kind of how, like, that's how I started picking up a brush as like a painter. And so, and that was like 8 years ago. So I painted, finished the program, and was like still kind of painting here and there, kind of painting like privately, like just like for my own sort of thing. And then like my friends would come over to my house and be like, "Oh, like your paintings are like dope. Like you should sell them, this and that." And so after kind of hearing those like sort of like words of encouragement, I
Mhm.
like I was like, okay, I think this might be something that I want to do. And then that always be in like the back of my mind, like this is something that I want to do. Mind
Mhm.
you, like I've always kind of been creative. Like there was a point where like when I was like 14, would be like making me and my friends would be making like YouTube videos. When I was like 21, I also thought I wanted to DJ. And
Oh,
so
okay.
uh like fast forward to like the pandemic, and like we didn't really have like much time to do anything else. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just like fully like do this and just
Right.
kind of lock down
Mhm.
on this form of expression. And then yeah, like I think, yeah, it was like 2020, and then
Mhm.
here I am now. So that was like 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your vulnerability, truly, for sharing how, your struggle with finding yourself, your identity, and navigating, life as a young person kind of led you down the wrong path, and then from there you literally discovered your own passion on the way to recovery, and now like it's earning you money. Right?
Yeah.
Like that
Not
is
life changing, but sure, yeah.
not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Because like I mean the sky's the starting point. So like
Amen.
right? But I've seen a lot of your work online personally. We were on a panel together and like
Mm,
I know that your work is just beautiful. And so I want to
thank you.
oh, of course. I want to discuss direction and finding a sense of direction in your practice. You said that this is a medium of expression you started exploring in rehab, and up till and like fast forward a few years, it's something you're doing now, just as your own artistic practice. Would you say that there anything that kind of gave you some sort of grounding, that kept you grounded or kept you deeply motivated to kind of turn your life around, and find a better direction for yourself, just as a human being, as a black man in a Canadian society, as like all the layers of things that you are? Like, was there anything, anyone, or some things that motivated you or that kept you focused or accountable to your own your own personal values, anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, so when I like first was like, okay, I'm gonna like start taking painting seriously and pursue this as a career. Um, I like I found a lot of identity in that, right? And so like I was like, oh, like I'm an artist, like this and that, and then like I mean, at the end of the day, like it was good, but I found that it wasn't really fulfilling in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, so I think it was like towards the end of the pandemic. I remember just like opening a Bible and like reading it, and then like, and then just like I mean, really just truly on the quest for truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like it wasn't really like making sense, but I knew there was just like something there. And then I think it was about a year and a half ago. I was just like uh, fully realized like who God was, and
Mm.
then yeah, and then kind of came to faith, and then like truly gave my life to Christ in a way, if
Wow.
that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Me personally, I'm a Christian too. I know that all sorts
Okay.
of people from all sorts of beliefs and whatnot will be listening to the podcast. So how would you say that I guess faith, how would you say that it has kind of helped you on your own journey now as a human and as an artist and as an immigrant, heck, as someone trying to find their identity and build their identity, how would you say that has played a role in your sense of direction and identity?
So I guess in regards to my identity, it's like I guess I don't really find my identity necessarily in like sort of like externally, like I mean like I find my identity in what the Bible tells me, which is like I find my identity in Christ, and knowing that um that at the end of the day, like even though I do these things externally, like I am just a child of God. So
Amen and hallelujah. Amen and hallelujah.
so so with that so I mean with that being said, I try and live by what Christ says that we should do, which is love thy neighbor as we would thyself, and like because he says like that is the greatest commandment. So it's like
Mm,
so that's how I try and live my life, and that's the direction that I try and live my life. And I mean it goes much deeper than that, but it's like
mhm.
I mean we have to work, like
Yeah.
there's all these like different layers, and it's just like um it's much more complicated uh than just like the two. Well, not complicated, it's actually very simple, but it's hard to get there actually.
Mhm.
and just like and just I mean just like having love and joy for like the things that you do, and like the people that you meet and the people you connect with as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. So let's talk about Zambia. You moved away when you were 8 years old.
Yeah.
Have you visited ever since?
Yes.
Ooh,
I
tell
went
us about
back.
it. Tell us about it.
Okay, so I went back in like 2018 for the first time
Mhm.
in like 15 years,
Wow.
and like that was a culture shock, cuz cuz it was just much different than I remembered it. And like because of I mean it was still like Zambia in a way, but because of like the internet, like a lot of things had progressed, and a lot of things were like available there that I didn't even think were like possible. Like it's not what uh people make it out to be like on TV, right? It's like it's not a World Vision commercial. I just like
They're not hungry kids on the streets, flies on people's faces. Like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you, those ads piss me off
yeah, they're bad.
because like places here where there are homeless people, or
Mhm.
people suffering from homelessness, struggling with homeless. There's a way to say it now. There's a politically correct way
Yeah.
of saying homeless people experiencing homelessness. So those folks or people who are experiencing addiction or who are drug dependent or whatever, Not me trying to be politically correct, but anyway, but like if a videographer just went with the camera and just recorded all those people on the streets or whatnot, and put that really slow music, right,
Yeah,
and just kind of put a like somebody else there and say, these people need your help, like, you know what I mean, like
it's crazy.
it just is like there are poor people everywhere. There are poor people in Canada,
100%.
poor people in the UK, poor people in the US, like homeless people, people who need help, hungry kids, right?
Mhm.
Like, so the fact that people will try to go to Africa and then say, "Oh, this is how they live. They're dying on the streets." Like, that's not true.
No, it's not.
Ugh,
I mean that's there. Like let's not discredit that. Like it's there.
not
But it's
disputing
like
that at all, but I'm saying there are poor people everywhere.
it's a small portion.
Exactly. The same way it's a small portion of people here that are homeless, but
Yeah.
they make it seem like it's the majority,
Mhm.
you know? Anyway, sorry, I
It's
went off on a
crazy.
rant right there.
No, it's okay. We digress.
Continue.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I went back 2018
Hmm.
and yeah, like I mean that was a shock. Reconnected with like a bunch of family.
Hmm.
And like yeah, like I didn't realize how much I missed it until I was there and how much time had really passed until I was there.
Right.
And then I guess fast forward to last year and like I went back for like 6 months.
Yeah. That's the best way to experience it. You can't go back for two
Yeah.
weeks. You have to make sure that your ticket money actually does its job, because tickets are so expensive. It's like over $2,500 to travel.
Yes.
So you make
Yes.
sure if
It's
you're
so
there,
crazy.
that 2005 burns the hell up. Like, you use every single cent of it. Make sure you stay
100%.
well and have fun. Not that you just zip there for 2 weeks and then you're back, and then the 2005 is just looking at you like, why? You know?
Yeah.
Sorry again.
No.
I went on another rant. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Continue.
Everything you're saying is true and like I mean with that 6 months like man like it made me like I honestly want to move there like I'm done. i'm, I'm
Aww.
done. Because like I don't know, it was just like something about just like being on the continent. It's just like it's so much different.
Mhm.
Mind you, like it's kind of comparing like apples to oranges because like
Mhm. There.
you like there's certain things where you're like you're like man like I would never experience this if I was in North America.
Yep.
But then again, like I mean, it's home, right? So I think you like I love like all of it.
Yeah. No, I
Like
always I always say immigration is trading one set of problems for another set of problems.
100%.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I would be doing a disservice to Zambia if I was to just like take everything that I've learned here and just stay here and like sort of like build this economy in a way. It's kind of
Mhm.
crazy, but
Mhm. I mean, it's your life, your choice. You get to make that choice for yourself, right?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, like, how did that impact your artistry? Again, I'm gonna keep coming back to that sense of identity because it's very powerful, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with up to this day. Like, I've heard of people who are so they're trying, like you were talking about how, you found yourself fighting against being the other in those spaces, so you kind of try to move away from your culture a little bit, try to wash away the accent, try to, dress like them, look like them, whatever. And
Mhm.
there are people that do that to the extent that they delude themselves, right?
Mm.
Like, there are people that will make up a whole history for themselves. There are people that will make up
Mhm.
a whole, oh, where are you from? Oh no, I was born in Vancouver. Vancouver where? You were born in Calabar. What are you talking about, Vancouver? You were born in Zambia. You were born in Zimbabwe. Like, there are people that
Yeah.
truly they do not want to. I think it's that thing of internalized racism, or this is my own hot take on it.
Mm.
Internalized racism, where because a lot of Caucasians look at the white culture, the white race as the supreme one, there's white supremacy, we know what that is. um People
Yeah.
internalize that instead of standing firm in their power and diversity, because there is beauty in power and diversity. they choose to they
100%.
choose to erase their own background to fit into the North American box of blackness, right?
Mm.
Because they feel like being African is being less than. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to you? So I've seen people literally say, "Oh, I've never experienced racism before." But then they
Mm.
start but then they start telling you some experiences, and you're like, that is racism." And they're like, "No, no, no."
Yeah.
And then you hear them start to make excuses for these people, and you hear them start to, and it's so unfortunate. But like, where I stand with that is, I feel sorry for people who feel like there just is no other way to exist than to become
Mm.
exactly like them and to wipe out all trace of originality. So
Yeah.
that's why I keep coming back to that sense of identity, because you've talked about it so beautifully. Like, even growing up, like, younger kids experience it,
Hmm.
like some people say kids are really mean. That is not a lie, right?
Yeah, they
Like,
are like.
it's true. And you find, like, kids, especially when they're immigrants, like you were saying, you try to erase your accent. Like, I had a friend of mine say that because they told her that her food stinks, she stopped bringing her favorite foods to school because they told her that her laugh was too loud, she talked too loud. She started practicing how to laugh in a mirror, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Crazy.
that's the amount of, like, self
Sounds
remove.
like an unpaid actor.
I'm telling, like, it's just, it becomes a mask, right? It becomes a
Yeah,
mask
one hundred
where
percent.
people no longer own an identity, and they just take on whatever the world says is fine, is good, is pretty, is good. Like, they just take on and mold themselves into all those shapes, and shrink themselves and remove parts of themselves. Some people do it for good. Some people literally, like I was saying earlier, make up a whole backstory for themselves. They have their
So
parents
true.
they have their parents in the village, but they'll tell you, "Oh no, my parents are dead." Like, there are people that actually do that. That's why I keep coming back to that sense of identity, sense of self. And how did visiting Zambia and staying for 6 months, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. And staying for 6 months, like, how did that, being entrenched back into the society, the food, the language, the smells, the music, the culture, the everything, like, how did all that, like, um affect,
Impact.
again, how did it impact, how did it play a role in how you identify yourself and see yourself today? How does it, or how did it play a role in your artistry and how you make art moving forward? Like, talk about it.
Okay. So it impacted my identity a lot. Like I mean, the whole intention of the trip was to get rerouted,
Mm.
right? And that's why like I needed that extended period of time because like I mean I'm pretty sure this is common across all Africa. It's like our names actually like mean something,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I'm like, so like, who is this guy? Like, and like trying to understand like who I am as a person and understand like sort of like my lineage and the heritage that and the blood that courses through my veins, right?
Mm.
So with that being said, like I believe like that was achieved and like and then some, right? Because it like not only did I get closer to my family, I also got closer to God as well. So it was just like it was like a double blessing. And so in regards to like my practice, like a lot of the art that I'm making now, like it pays a lot of homage to like my heritage
Mm.
and like so like my last name Kangombe, like that means the cow, right?
the
And so it's
the
like
cow.
yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of like my most recent work has been like very like cow themed and then like and just kind of just like really sort of like playing like into that narrative and and just exploring that like sort of like more and more. And then when I was there, like we have these fabrics called like chitenges
Mm-hmm.
that ladies wear like around the streets, like so I picked up a bunch of that
Yeah.
and I'm trying to incorporate that. I haven't done it yet, but eventually will be incorporating that into my work. But
Okay.
like I'm and just like okay, so as of recent, although I am a visual artist as well,
Mhm.
I'm kind of transitioning into like being a designer and putting the traditional African fabric into the clothing that will be made as well. So it
Hmm.
impacted my it impacted my practice along because I was just a lot because like you just can't unsee things. Once you like see things or you find things out, it's like you can't really unsee them or unlearn them in a way, right?
Yeah.
And then for me as a person, coming back from that, I just kind of just like realized how much I kind of like crave that community, like crave the community of people that have the same experiences that I've had as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
Cause like going back to like um people coming here and then trying to like assimilate and then like
Mhm.
losing like it's just like you tend to like you even forget about the people that that come from the same place as you as well, and you're just like you're trying to build with like community with people, which is like I mean which is fine. I'm not saying like it's a bad thing to connect with others,
Mhm.
but I'm just saying like I just found that when I got back, I was like I don't even want to hang out with my other friends like from Calgary. I
Yeah.
want to hang out with people from like the Zambian community and people just more like black people,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so
100%. Thank you for sharing that. Because me, I have not had the opportunity to go for 6 months, but
you will.
there's nothing too hard for my God to do. So,
No, for real. And there's so much happening in Nigeria. Like
I know. I know.
you guys have been up. Like
There's so much happening, minus the
um,
the government, but there's a lot of artistry happening. There's a lot
yeah,
happening with the people. There's
so
just
much creativity.
absolutely amazing. And I also want to, like, how I want to be a tourist in my home. I want to kind of visit Nigeria, but because like living in Nigeria, you're like, oh yeah, oh Olumarok is there. We'll see it later, and you never see it. Like there's so
Yeah.
many tourist attractions. There's the place where the warm water spring and the whatever they meet, but they don't mix, and there's just beauty. Right, there's
Wow.
so much to see in Africa, in Nigeria, in West Africa, like all over the continent. Like there's some videos I stumbled upon this videos. You know how people just travel and do like aerial shots of like the beautiful forestry, the hills, the
Yeah.
mountains, the water, like the sunset, the sunshine, the beaches. I'm like, is this when did they build this after I left? Like, when did this happen?
That's
Like,
the side that they're not showing people.
exactly. And
It's
even I can even say on my own part that being in Nigeria, you don't even think to, because you're trying to hustle for your daily bread. You're like, putting
yeah.
all your effort to build a life for yourself and build all this and build all that, that you don't even think, like, when you think to take a break, you don't think. And I think this may be common with a lot, like majority of Africans or Niger, I can speak for myself, Nigerians, but people I've come across is when it's time to vacation, then they go outside of the continent instead of exploring the
Yeah.
continent, because the
I'm
continent is
telling you.
beautiful, right? Like, anyway, so my dream is to be able to explore and just experience the art, experience festivals, experience the food, like in all these different countries. Because I'm a foodie, I will eat. My belly
Yeah,
is
I'm
not
telling
that picky. But that's it, right? There's the beauty in the continent that I want to experience. And I dream of like going there as a tourist in my home
no,
to
I hear
just
you.
like
I hear you.
pour into and see and experience all these different countries and cultures and foods and cities and all these beautiful touristy things. But I will plan. My God will answer my prayer.
100%.
And I'll be able to go for 6 months, because the last time I went was 2022. And I was there
Okay.
for just about 2 weeks, and it was a really quick trip. I went there for work. It
Wow.
was it was like I was doing a Nigerian show here in Canada, and they kind of presented the option of going to shop in Nigeria for the items we needed. So it
Mm,
was an awesome opportunity to go, and I got to work with my mom, and it was amazing. But
wow.
it was a quick in and out. Like I didn't have time to be jet lagged. Like I flew in the next day. I was in the market. We were like we were trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
So like I still crave like going back and spending the time. And I know it'll happen. It'll happen. I'm gonna
Yeah, it
trust that
will,
it'll
it will,
happen.
it will.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, amazing. So do you have any I'm gonna ask you to plug yourself right now, like talk about your artwork a little bit and talk about what you have coming up, if you're open to commissions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm open to commissions. Currently working on one right now, and I'm not. Beside the commission, I'm not really doing much. Like I'm gonna
Oh,
forgive me, but like
it's okay.
I'm not like I'm not trying to be like out there like that. You
You're
know what I
not
mean?
trying to be. Why?
Like I am and I'm not. Like I mean, okay, so if you want to see some of my work, uh I did a video for the Telus Sky building.
Mm.
Uh so and it was filmed by foreigners, which is like another it's an artist collective here in Calgary.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can go check that out. And then you can go on my website to see some of my work, artofchish.ca. And I'm taking a hiatus off Instagram, unfortunately.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just like creatively, I just kind of need the break and just like time to refocus
Mhm.
on yeah, cuz I do this thing like I do it like what I do it for a few months every year where I just like kind of just like need a break to just like restructure my brain and just like like sort of like seek out inspiration like on my own terms.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's kind of the season that I'm in right now.
Okay.
And then I already said my website, Telus
And,
Sky. Hmm?
so to see your work on Telesky, is it like how do we see that?
Oh, you have to live in Calgary.
Oh, you can't see it outside of Calgary? Oh yeah, right. It's
Nah,
on the
because it's
building,
like
right?
yeah, it's in a building. It's
Oh,
on a
it
building.
wait, in or
On.
on the building. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like at the First Street train station. There's like giant screens
Right.
and then yeah, we shot a video like this summer. It kind of just like it's kind of like a little like short editor like it's like a visual documentary. It deals with like fashion and then it has a bit of like my painting practice in there as well.
Oh wow. That is
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
yeah, you're gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, in person, just have to
Yeah.
yeah, go out there cuz this is the first I'm hearing of it. I've seen like some of your work online, but like
Mhm.
I didn't also realize that you do murals and you do like oh,
Oh
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I do have one mural for the people that are here in Calgary. It's just off 17th Ave, uh, in between Mona Lisa Art Supplies and
Mm.
Analog Coffee Shop on 17th Avenue.
I think I know the analog coffee. Okay, okay, okay. We'll check it out. We will check it
Yeah,
out because why the hell not? And you're super talented, so I'm very excited to see it.
and on my website, my contact information is there.
Oh, amazing.
So if
Okay.
anyone's looking to collaborate
Mhm.
or even just want to reach out,
Yeah.
I'd be I'd be happy to connect.
Do you have a like a shop where people can see like prints and stuff that you've done and where they
I'm
can buy it
actually
if they want to?
I'm in the process of building my shop right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a journey. I went on Wix and started building my own website, so that that's been taking up most of my time.
Yep.
And then now I'm just kind of setting up the shop now. Stuff
Okay.
to do like product photos.
Yes.
Um
That
that
takes more
whole
work.
that whole very very long process.
Yep, it's more work. Yeah, 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 for
Yeah.
sure. Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Shish, for sharing your time and your story and being so vulnerable with us on, this journey of finding and building and standing by, identity. And honestly, this is ongoing. And I bet if I have another interview with you in like 2 years. Heck, in 6 months, it would have evolved further. And that's the beauty of it, is that it never just stays as one thing. Of course, it can be
Mhm.
rooted in one thing, but then as you grow as a human being, you find that it manifests in different ways.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I mean, it was truly an honor and a blessing. And yeah.
Before you go, you have to leave us with a word of advice, a word of wisdom. You have to sprinkle
Oh, didn't
us
you say
with.
there's aren't we supposed to say an African proverb?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. That's exactly what I'm asking. An African proverb, something.
Okay, so an African proverb that I heard from my cousin: if you have to make a hard decision, eat first.
Mm, you know what? I hear that. Eat first, because you can't make those decisions on an empty stomach. Like,
No, you can't.
you will be fooling yourself. Again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us your story.
Absolutely.
And for our listeners, we will see you on the next episode. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Afros in the Diaspora. I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and hopeful. To engage, feel free to like, follow, share, and subscribe to Afros in the Diaspora on all social media and podcast platforms. Remember to leave a review and a rating. If you would like to be a guest, please reach out. Send an email to hi@afrosinthediaspora.com. That is hi@afrosinthediaspora.com. Or send us a DM on Instagram at afrosinthediaspora. Remember, there is beauty in our stories and power in our voices. Together, we are stronger. Until next time.